What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to get into a little team building guide here for the new INT Super Vegeta EZA. The INT Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta that fuse into Vegito. So the type effective category is going to be Final Trump Card. You're going to want to be using all Final Trump Card characters. This is probably going to be pretty easy peasy, because this is a pretty strong category, and like with all of the LR EZAs, Legendary Power is going to be an effective link, so you're going to want to be using a lot of LRs against this event. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Final Trump Card roster. We've got a very, very impressive roster of characters here to choose from, including some really good extreme characters as well, which is usually a little more rare for EZAs. I feel like a lot of the time you end up using all of the strong super types, but you could actually use some of the extreme types as well. So the one downside with the Final Trump Card category is that if you look at the Final Trump Card category itself, the leaders for it are actually not that good. So with the new Kaioken Goku that came out, and then these two, I want to say their 4th anniversary LRs that came out, they are both 150, all three of them are 150% leaders to Final Trump Card. So you actually can't run anything higher than 150% leader skill if you want to just do the base Final Trump Card category. So keep that in mind. There are going to be some decent options within here. I mean, obviously you see the LR Gods here and the LR Super Saiyan 4s. So you do have the ability to run a 200% team if you are building like a subcategory within Final Trump Card. But obviously it's going to heavily limit the units that you are capable of bringing on the team. So yeah, keep that in mind as we look through this dreadfully long list of units. I'm going to try and make each of the units overviews very brief, because we have quite a few units to go through here before I show you guys a few team builds that I've built in-game as well, to give you guys some nice suggestions. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. So the very first unit that we're going to go over is the Super Gogeta here. His EZA is coming out at the exact same time as the INT Vegito. I actually recommend that you guys do this EZA first. Do his EZA for the physical Gogeta first, so that you can use him as a leader for this EZA, because you can build a really strong fusion team to take on this EZA, and this guy has type advantage in this EZA because you're going up against an INT enemy, and he's going to be physical type. So with the physical, two of him as the leader, leading 180% to fusion, and there are some other really strong physical type fusion characters, which we will go over, you can make a baller team that is absolutely going to dominate this EZA. So yeah, I did just make a team building guide for the for them as well. So if you haven't seen that one yet, I will leave a link to it in the description. I would recommend going ahead and checking out that one first, getting that EZA done first, so that you can use this guy as your leader for this EZA. But yeah, after this guy EZAs, he is super, super strong. He's going to be holding his own defensively for sure. He's going to be putting out a ton of damage. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see his fusion, because you're not going to be really ever getting to turn 6 in an EZA. But he is going to be a very, very impressive unit nonetheless. You know, he's got built-in evasion here. He's got built-in crits. And then just a lot of stats on top of the stat raises that he's getting from his super. And it's going to be super easy for him to collect key spheres, because he gets 3 key per rainbow key sphere, basically. So yeah, it will be really easy for him to get off his 18 key supers there. Okay, so let's take a look at the next unit. We've got the LR Super Saiyan 4s, so they are going to fall on the fusion category there. They will be under that 180% leader skill. Obviously, they are like literally the best unit in the game, and they have type advantage over this event, so they are going to be really solid as well. Definitely a good idea to bring them if you have them. They could also be a solid leader for you. You can definitely make a Fuse Fighter GT Heroes, you know, team with all of these Final Trump Card characters. So you could use them as your leader as well if you wanted to. Definitely not a bad way to go. Especially because I would say having 2 of them on the team isn't a horrible idea either. Okay, so we've also got the Physical Master Roshi here. Now, he is not going to fall on the fusion category or anything like that, but if you are running a Final Trump Card leader, then he is going to be a must-run, I would say. Everyone can have access to him because he's a free-to-play card, so you could go grind him up if you don't have him yet. And yeah, this guy is super, super impressive. He gets a really, really high attack raise if you do his Mega Colossal, which is what I would recommend going for, is his Ultra Super. His Ultra Super attack there, because he's not going to be proccing any of the effects, because he can't stun and seal in an EZA, so I would definitely say just go for that highest attack stat that you can give him with the 18-key Super. But he does have defense 120% at the start of turn, which is really good, and then he's also got the medium evasion chance built in, which can proc during EZAs, so that's really, really good. And then he's also got this revive mechanic, which I suppose could be useful. There's no turn restriction for it or anything. It just says if HP is 50% or less at the start of the character's turn, when there are another 2 or more Turtle School category allies on the team. So you will need to have some Gokus on the team as well. Every Goku in the game is on Turtle School, so if you just have 2 Goku cards with you, then you should be perfectly fine. If you're running the new STR Kaioken Goku LR as your leader and your friend leader, there's your 2 Turtle School allies. So you'll be able to use this effect there. And they also actually could help you because they sacrifice HP on their super attack. So they could maybe get you below that 50% mark a little quicker. Could be an interesting strategy to see there. But yeah, he is going to be very, very impressive. You're probably not going to see his active skill active because he needs to receive 7 or more attacks. And that is that takes a while to do. So in an EZA, I don't imagine that you're gonna see that. But yeah, this guy overall is going to be a pretty solid option for this EZA. So next up, we've got the physical Goku Piccolo here. Again, they are not going to be on the fusion category or anything like that, but if you're running a final trump card leader, they're going to be a phenomenal option. They are a super impressive defensive unit, getting this great raise here, on top of having basically 300% defense at the start of turn, is going to be really, really nice. And they're going to be guarding attacks, which really doesn't do the most because they do have type advantage as well. But that still does add some additional defensive capability for them, especially if they get hit with a super attack. And if you run them as the first attacker in turn, which you definitely can because they have that 300% start of turn defense, then they're going to be launching an additional, and they're going to get double, well, I guess they'll get the 1 great raise from their Ultra Super, and then they could get an attack raise as well from their additional attack. So that is really, really good. They get some additional attack power on Super, and additional attack power when you get a 24-key Super with them, which is really nice too. So yeah, they are going to be looking super impressive. You're not going to see their active skill, same deal. They have to receive 7 or more attacks, so that's probably not going to happen here. And that's okay, because the Piccolo isn't that good anyway. He's pretty bad defensively. So it's almost better to just leave them untransformed as is. But yeah, they are going to be a very, very solid option. Okay, so we did already mention him, but the Kaioken Goku LR here is going to be a really, really solid option for this EZA. He is going to be a good leader option if you aren't able to run any of those like Fusion or Fuse Fighter teams. If you are forced to run a generic Final Trump card lead, then he is definitely going to be your best bet over the, the blue Vegeta or the blue Gogeta that could run. That could lead this team. He is definitely better than both of those units. He is going to be hitting insanely hard. So if you have 2 of this guy on the team as your leader and your friend leader, you're going to be one-turning this EZA like butter, because he's got just insane stats. Also, there is going to be an enemy that includes Vegeta, so he will be getting this additional attack stat, the 70% attack for the rest of battle. Wait, actually, let me go back to the EZA really quick and just double check. Yeah, so even at stage 11 plus, you're still just fighting them in base. They never transform into the Vegeta, which means the enemy will have Vegeta in the name. So he is going to be getting that 70% boost throughout the entirety of this EZA. So he is going to be super, super strong. He gets the additional stats on super attack, and even more attack stacking if it's an ultra super attack, and then he's also got the orb changing here as well, and he has crits built in, which is nice too. So yeah, and he does sacrifice this little bit of HP, which 4% is nothing, but definitely something to consider, I suppose. And then he has a really good active skill attack that you could actually end up seeing. Because there's just an HP restriction. So if you get hit really hard turn 1, if you have a bad rotation, and then this guy comes out, you could potentially use his active skill. And if you have 2 of them, you might even be able to use this twice, and it hits very hard, on top of the super attack that he's going to do. So yeah, this guy, damage-wise especially, is going to be really, really good for this EZA. So then we've also got the STR Super Vegito here. He's going to be a decent unit. I included him in the list because he is an LR, so he is going to be activating that legendary power link, which is definitely useful to making sure that you're able to do the most amount of damage possible during these EZAs. He's not going to be, you know, doing the most offensively or defensively, but he is certainly a solid option to have around on the team if you need him, and he is going to be on, what is it, the Fusion team? Is he on Fusion? No, he's not on Fusion. Okay, but he is on Fused Fighters. So if you end up running the LR Super Saiyan 4s as your leader, then he would be under their 200% leader skill. But he's not on Fusion. I guess it's because the base form of the card is just a Goku and Vegeta, so he isn't on Fusion. Whereas if it was just a Vegito in base, then he would be. Oh, well, I suppose it's because it's Potara. Duh, he's on Potara. Okay, I'm over here brain farting. But yeah, he is on Fused Fighters. Okay. But yeah, you're probably not going to see his active skill. Turn 4 and later is probably hard to get to, so I wouldn't count on that. But him in base can still be very, very solid. So yeah, I've also included the blue Gogeta here. Again, you could run him as your leader if you needed to. He's a final trump card leader. Though I don't recommend it, he isn't the strongest of cards. I did include him on here because, again, he is an LR, so he can be a decent option. I would recommend running him in the 3rd slot because then he gets this high chance to evade, which is going to be very helpful, especially because he only has 70% defense, and he doesn't get any defense stacks anywhere else in any part of his kit. So, and he doesn't really even have any strong defensive links either. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend running him in the 3rd slot if you are going to run him, but he is another LR option that you could run on the team, and he is on the LR Super Saiyan 4's 200% team if you have the ability to run them. He is also on Fusion, so you could run him on the 180% Fusion team if you want to go that way. So I did include the LR Gods here just because they are so amazing, and if you really haven't been able to find like a team that works, I suppose you could run their Power Beyond Super Saiyans and Movie Heroes team, though I would not recommend it, just because they're a tech unit, and you're going to be fighting an INT enemy during this entire fight, during this entire EZA, so them having type disadvantage is going to be really, really a big hindrance for them, especially because they don't get all of their dodge chance stuff until after they transform, and you're not going to see their transformation, so they're going to be getting hit pretty hard here. That being said, they do have guard on the first turn. So if you're able to, you know, have a lot of units on the team that dish out a ton of damage, then they could actually be very, very impressive because they could guard on the first turn, and then you may not even have to see them rotate around again before the fight is over. So that is a really solid option for you guys to be able to use. But yeah, if this event is taking you quite a few turns to get through, then I don't know that I'd recommend using them, just because them being on the type disadvantage is not helpful. But they are an LR, so they're going to be providing that legendary power link skill, which is nice. Okay, so we actually have our first extreme type unit here. The Majin Buu Gotenks Absorbed here. This LR is going to be really solid. He's got type advantage, so that is very, very nice. And he is only on final trump card here. He's not going to be on any of those other fusion categories or anything like that, which is actually kind of interesting. I've never thought about this before. He's on power absorption because he absorbs other enemies, but like Gotenks is in him, so why isn't he on fusion? Interesting. I wonder what the loophole is with that. That is actually kind of surprising to see that he isn't on fusion. It kind of makes sense, right? I don't know. That's a weird one. If you have an answer to that, leave it in the comments below, because I would love to know. Okay. So, yeah, he is going to be really solid. If you're getting off his Ultra Super attacks, he's going to be getting some defense raises, so that is very, very nice. He's also getting this passive HP recovery at the start of turn, which is very helpful in easy A's because you're not able to use items, so that is a good way to get back some of that HP if you are struggling with HP. But yeah, him having type advantage is going to be very, very helpful in here. So he can be a solid option to throw on there if you are lacking other units. Just keep in mind that if you're not using very many extreme units, then a lot of his links are going to go unnoticed, and he won't be looking that impressive. But he does have legendary power, so he can help there. And then we've got the AGL full power Frieza here. So he's another solid extreme type unit that you could throw on the team. You could actually run those two guys side by side if you wanted to, honestly. Yeah, so he is going to be on Final Trump card as well. Here it is. But yeah, he isn't on Fusion or any of those other categories, so you would have to run a generic Final Trump card leader in order to run him. But he can be really solid. He is getting those defense raises on his Ultra Super as well. And he's also got this really cool part in his kit where he launches an additional super attack within the same turn after receiving an attack. And this guy hits very hard. His attack stats can be really, really impressive. So, if you run him in the first slot and he gets hit and then is able to do his 2 guaranteed supers, potentially even a 3rd super from his hidden potential if you have additionals built up there, then he can be hitting very, very hard and do a lot of damage to the enemy right out the gate. So yeah, he can be a very, very solid option as well. He also performs a critical hit when there is an enemy whose name includes Goku. So he's going to be doing guaranteed critical hits throughout this entire EZA. He is a really solid option. So he is a bit of a defensive liability because if he gets super attacked, he's going to be getting hit pretty hard. It does take him quite a few turns to stack his defense, especially because he can only get 1 defense raise per turn since it's the Ultra Super attack that raises defense. But if you're willing to put that gamble out there for the defensive liability, this guy is a very, very strong offensive option for this EZA. Okay, so then we've got LR Turles here. Again, another good extreme class unit that you could run if you're running a generic final trump card leader here. And he is basically just going to be hitting really hard. He's got some decent defense. I'd say decent for sure. But he is going to be hitting pretty hard, especially if it would be especially good if you are able to get that 24 key super, because then he'll have attacks effective against all types, and he gets a high chance to launch. Excuse me, I'm tripping over my words here. I've been talking too long. He gets the high chance to launch an additional super attack there as well. So this guy can be a decent option, especially because in LR they all have the legendary power link. Okay, so now we're moving into non-LR territory. The rest of these units are just going to be TURs that are going to allow you to get... or all of these units are going to be basically defensively strong units. Most of them aren't going to be doing the most amazing offensively because they do not have the legendary power link, but they can still be great additions to the team if you're not able to build a full team out of all the LRs that we just went over. Okay, so the first one here is Xiao Man. He's going to have type advantage, so that's going to be very, very helpful. He's got a lot of defense start of turn, which is really, really good to see. And then he gets a lot of additional attack on his super attack, and then he gets these, attack and defense raises as well. He is also sacrificing 10% HP there when he does his super. This could work interestingly in tandem with the Super Saiyan Blue... Or, I'm sorry, the LR Kaioken Goku, because he's sacrificing HP on Super as well. So, getting them below the 59% mark that Kaioken Goku needs to do his active skill, this can actually help with that. If your team is just too strong and you don't take damage, then him sacrificing his HP can actually help out with that. So he is actually on Fusion, so you can run him on that 180% Fusion team, and he can be another strong physical unit to be on that team for you. So another one is Kefla here. She is not on Fusion, but she is on Fused Fighter, so you can use her on the LR Super Saiyan 4's team if you run them. she is going to be a really solid unit. She's a physical type orb changer, so that can help out with all the other physical units, and she's a nuker as well. So if you're running her with other physical orb changers and stuff and giving and feeding her, then she can be putting up some pretty impressive stats as well. So she is actually an infinite defense raiser once you've got her easy aid here. Yeah, and she has medium chance to evade built into her kit as well, which is really solid, and she has built-in additionals, which just only helps with the stacking, right? So she is a pretty impressive unit that could do very well in this easy A. So then we've got the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks here. He's going to be decent. He is on Fusion, so you can run him with the, the Super Gogeta Fusion leader. Where is it at? Man, he has so many categories. Oh my goodness. But yeah, he is on Fusion there. So I guess the main part of his passive that I want to highlight on is this, that he gets defense 30% and a medium evasion chance for the first 7 turns. So that's basically always going to be active, because you're never going to hit the 7th turn during an easy A. So he can put out some decent attack stats as well, which can be impressive against his int enemy, but he does have decent defense, and then also that evasion as well. So that is going to be nice. Alright, and then we've got the Blue Vegito here. Physical Blue Vegito can definitely be solid in this. He's a little bit RNG reliant. He's still going to take a lot of damage if he gets hit with a super attack, even though he has type advantage. Maybe that would save you from dying, but he's certainly going to get hit very hard. You wouldn't want him to be in the way of a super attack, but for normal attacks, he does reduce damage received against them, so that's going to be nice. And then he is actually going to be a really strong damage dealer in this event. Especially if you run him on the LR Super Saiyan 4's team and you've got that Fuse Fighter Kamehameha thing going, because he'll be on the 200% doing these great attack and defense raises. He will look actually pretty impressive. I think this is another solid time for him to see a little bit of a resurgence and be a viable unit again for a moment before he disappears back into your box and to potentially never be used again. So he might be a solid option for you to use as well. Okay, and then we've also got the Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Vegeta here. So he can be nice. He's not going to be really providing these passive boosts to the team much. You're not going to see many other Giant 8 Power or crossover category allies on the team, I don't think. But he does get this defense raise on super attack, and he's got 140% to stats, so that's not the worst. If you're running him on... well, I see. I guess he's not on... Oh, he is on... Yeah. So Fuse Fighters and Kamehameha there. So if you're running him on the LR Super Saiyan 4's team, then he'll have the 200% leader skill, which is going to be very helpful for him. He could definitely be impressive because he has type advantage. So he can be another solid option. Okay, so then we've got the INT Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. He's going to be nice as well. He is on Fusion here as well, I believe. Yes, so you can run him on the Fusion team. And he... he has this high chance of countering. Yeah, that's going to be really useful for you to, tank some damage from super attacks potentially. So that is really good. And then he's also got attacks effective against all types for the first 8 turns. So even though he doesn't have type advantage, it's going to feel like he does. And he's getting these great attack and defense raises on super, and his stats still do very well for him. So he is going to look very solid. He is a really good unit to use in this Easy A for sure. So another unit that I did want to mention is this Hercules card. Definitely not going to be doing anything offensively for you. The main point of his super attack is to stun the enemy anyway, and he isn't going to be able to do that because you're in an easy A. However, his passive skill, he's got a high chance to reduce, or a high chance to evade, always, so 50% chance to evade, and then he reduces damage received by 50% to 90%. The less HP remaining, the less damage received. So... Turn 1, out the gates, he has a high chance to evade and 50% damage reduction. Pretty good. And then if he shows up on a later turn where you have lower HP, he can get up to 90% damage reduction. So that's basically what he has to offer. He can just be a solid fill-in unit if you are, missing other units. and you're not able to fill out the team, or if you're dying, then he can be a solid unit to help save your life. Okay, I did want to mention also the physical final form cooler here. Having type advantage, he is going to look pretty impressive here. He does need to stack. This is the only problem with him, is that he's going to need to do 10 attacks in order to get these stats fully built up. So you're probably not going to see him get fully built up, but he definitely can get a few of those stacks and start looking pretty good. He also has this additional built into his passive, so you could be seeing him get 3 attacks per turn, which could be very nice. And if he's able to get off some critical hits with that and whatnot, he could be doing quite a bit of damage. And then definitely after the second turn of him doing a few attacks, he will be tanking pretty decently as well. So he can be a really solid option. The last unit I wanted to mention here real quick is the INT Majin Vegeta. He could be pretty solid. He is a decent defensive unit. You're almost definitely not going to have a Trunks on the team to provide his additional 30% damage reduction, so don't count on that. But he can get the 20% damage reduction with 6 orbs here, as well as the additional, additional defense 50% with 3 or more key spheres obtained. So he can be pretty decent. He is a solid fill-in option if you don't have any other units to use. I don't know that you'd be seeing his active skill go off, considering he needed to take 6 attacks in an easy A. You're probably not going to see that. So yeah, but he's just a decent unit I wanted to throw in there as a potential option. So we are running kind of long here. I am going to switch over in-game real quick and just show you guys a few of the teams that I put together that I am planning on attempting this easy A with. So this is a generic final trump card team that I've got. It's full LR, so you'll have the legendary power link active throughout the entire event, and you're gonna have two of those Kaioken Gokus on there, which will be nice. This is only a 150% leader skill. That's the main caveat, but you do have 4 physical type units, so that is going to be very, very impressive. And 3 of the 4 are like 3 of the best units in the game on global right now, assuming you have the Super Gogeta here, easy aid. So that is going to be a really solid team. And then you also have this fusion team as an option. So again, lots of strong physical units, as well as quite a few LRs there to help you out. I do even have the LR gods in here, a little bit of a risky option, but there are plenty of other options to work around it if you wanted to. You could always run the INT Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta in his place if you wanted to. Would probably be a more well-rounded team, I think, if you did. And then we have this Potara team here as well that you could potentially run. Some decent physical options on there as well. And if you did get the, Vegito Easy Aid first here, then you could be running an 180% Potara team. And even if you don't, then there's probably one on your friends list that you could at least run as your friend leader. So yeah, that could be a very, very good option for you as well. Okay, so that is about everything I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed what you saw in the video, then come be a part of the Toxic Tribe with a like, comment, and subscribe. We are trying to get to 77 subscribers by the end of the 7-year anniversary, so smack that red subscribe button. It would help me out a lot. We'd greatly appreciate it. That is going to do it for this one, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace!